Hello, I welcome you to my talk on 10 practical tips to save cost in Oracle Cloud, and I thank the organizers for this fantastic opportunity. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Fahd Mirza, and I am a cloud engineer with focus on databases and DevOps. 5 years ago, I was working as a pure Oracle DBA and then transitioned to a cloud engineer role while migrating databases of every flavor, especially the Oracle, to the cloud. I have been an Oracle DBA since 2001. I was awarded Oracle ACE Award in 2008. I have also co-authored a book. I have been frequently speaking at various conferences across the globe. I also blog at fahadmirza.com, and this blog is up and running for the last 15 years or so. And these days I have been focusing on databases and DevOps in the cloud, especially the Oracle Cloud. So, during my last 5 years working for various customers across the globe, there are few things which I have noticed. Before I present them, let me quickly give you a snapshot of, with the help of some statistics, as what is happening in the cloud arena. So, more than 90% of organizations are using public cloud services in one way or another. Cloud customers are likely to spend more than $50 billion on infrastructure as a service of various cloud services as per Gartner. Gartner has also recently predicted that cloud services spending will grow 17% in 2020 and it will cross $266 billion. $17.6 billion will be wasted in cloud spend as per Gartner survey. And that's a very conservative estimate. The actual figure could be much, much higher. So, what are the causes of cloud overspending? There is a whole shift in psychology when cloud is involved because both cloud and easy are perceived as cheap. Businesses and more specifically, their users tend not to worry about controlling or limiting the expansion of cloud instances. Many cloud providers, including Oracle, enable anyone with a credit card to spin up a cloud server in seconds. This is primarily a disaggregation of IT, and in many organizations, this means cloud usage expand largely unchecked and unnoticed. So that is one of the prime reasons. Then comes the cloud exuberance. The exuberance and overjoy over cloud from all parts of enterprise means many people will be purchasing or subscribing to cloud services on behalf of their departments or work roles. This results in duplicate subscriptions for the same size through the enterprise. And then there are cloud services that turn into latest version of shelfware, continuing live subscriptions for online services that no one is using. This also adds up to the costs big time. And then there is a success factor. There are premium costs that arise when demand spikes and gigabytes of data are suddenly being consumed by the second. Cloud providers like Oracle have complex variable pricing structures based on basic supply and demand. Add to this a lack of proper tooling for tracking and measuring usage, and you have a perfect storm of escalating and ballooning costs. Another factor is that there is no oversight at all in many organizations. There are no automated tools, and there is no resource pipeline to cater for these resources. Another misconception, which is very common, is that cloud is always cheap and even free, and we would have to pay peanuts to run that terabyte of database, no matter how long we run it and how we run it. If you think that, you're definitely in for a rude surprise. So the cloud honeymoon is over, definitely over. Companies are waking to the rude reality that more than one third of that spending is being wasted. Coronavirus pandemic has also amplified this cost thing, and this COVID effect is real everywhere, wherever you go. Companies are now seriously reviewing their bills and are horrified what they already have spent and what they are spending on day-to-day basis. So what can be done to save cost in cloud, and what Oracle offerings are there to help us in this very matter? There are 10 tips which I have garnered for working with around dozens of clients across the globe, um, which I believe that help any organization to save cost and to maintain that saving streak in the future. So allow me to discuss those 10 tips one by one. One of the most important tip I could give you is to devise a comprehensive organization-wide tagging strategy for your cloud resources. Tagging helps you know what you are running, and if you know what you are running, only then you can manage it, monitor it, and control the cost. The Oracle Cloud Infrastructure tagging enables you to tag resources in any organizational scheme that you choose. So you can better organize, control, manage, and report on cloud resources. Oracle Cloud engineers can find, control, access, and perform bulk actions on a set of resources identified by tags. Adding tags to your cloud resources enable you to classify and sort your resources. Tags themselves have no meaning to your cloud provider, they are just a string of data. The tags you choose can be whatever you want them to be, making them a powerful tool for helping your business make sense out of your cloud spend. Most organizations will have several ways they want to report their costs: usage, performance, availability, and security. And these requirements will change over time in response to requirement of different stakeholders. So the tagging strategy and its categories should be generic and shouldn't be bound to any time or anything else in your organization. Tagging is so important that tip 2 also relates to the tagging. You need to make sure that you make tagging mandatory, a holy grail for all your cloud users, so much so that resources without tags won't be allowed to run in your cloud under your watch. Oracle provides you two type of tags. One is free-form tags and the other one is defined tags. Free-form tags do not have any constraints or defined schema. Anyone who has access to resource can use free-form tags. You can retrieve free-form tags on a resource, but you cannot use policy to control the application of free-form tags. Then we have defined tags. These tags have a defined schema that restricts the value of tags, improves consistency of usage, and helps prevent accidental spamming of tags. Individual users can be granted or denied permission for defined tags. Try to use mixture of both defined and free-form tags. For example, use defined tags for your naming standards or conventions of resource names, resource SMEs, and give some free-flowing tags to your end users or application owners or product developers, which they can customize as per their own application requirement or use case. It's critical for organizations to track spending, especially for services with consumption-based billing like Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This visibility is a hallmark of a good cost-saving strategy. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure cost analysis, budgets, and usage reports are very useful to get that visibility into your cloud expenditure. You need to know where your cloud credits are being spent and how your consumption compares to your commitment amount. Use the cost analysis dashboard to view your spending by service or by department. It could be compartment or cost tracking tag. And always use trend lines to understand how spending patterns are changing and where to focus cost reduction efforts. Use budgets to track actual and forecasted spending for the entire tenancy or per compartment. Set up actionable email alerts at important thresholds to keep the right people informed and direct them to take action before overages are incurred. Usage reports enable you to get more insight on your bill or create custom billing applications. They're very useful and very handy if you want to get a granular view of your spending or find ways to save. You need detailed information about your whole consumption in your Oracle infrastructure in the cloud. Pick the low hanging fruit first, which would likely be the heaviest. No point in first focusing on saving pennies. From cost reports, see which virtual machines or Oracle database cloud service is costing you more money. Also, look into the very question that if this resource is needed at all, what if you could downgrade it? What if you could just get rid of it? Optimizing the largest cost culprit will have the biggest dent in your bill, and usually it has the ripple effects on other resources too, and it can considerably bring your bill down. Turn off that stuff in cloud when you are done. And in order to accomplish that, you need to have a scheduler. Manually asking people to start and shut down services when they are done with their work is not going to work, especially in a bigger enterprise where you have many accounts, hundreds or thousands of servers, databases, and stuff. This is simply not going to work. So you need to have an automated scheduler which would work on some sort of schedule. So a simple strategy here is to define a predefined tag called as schedule and then put a start and stop time as a value as and customized by resource. For example, some of the resources would need to run from 9 to 5, some might be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So by just changing the value of that tag, you would be able to make sure that you are running the resources only when they are needed. Because no point in running your development, QA, and testing instances or databases throughout the night 24 by 7 and throughout the week when no one is using them. Because remember, when something is running in the cloud, it is costing you money. And when it stops, it isn't. So stop what you are not using. And as far as a scheduler is concerned, you just need to write some scripts in your favorite language or by using Oracle functions uh, to make sure that they are triggered with with a regular frequency, checking every resource schedule. And you need to keep a hawk eye on all the schedules to make sure that people are not misusing it. When organizations migrate to cloud, they need to train their people and they also need to make sure that they test what they are going to migrate and also they need to test the new technologies. So they need to provide some sort of playground area to their end users and to their developers which have different skill sets and different requirements. It's always a bad idea to give this sort of access to people in your production or non-production account. So the best practice here is to just allocate a different account or an area where your users would test these new POCs or learn new stuff, and then you can just keep it separate from everything else. But you need to keep a very stern eye on this account because you don't want people to do some sort of Bitcoin mining or crypto analysis in these accounts, and you need to make sure that you clean up this area very regularly. And one strategy which I have always found very useful here is that just give a time frame to your user that this area is only valid for 1 month, and then just delete that account or playground area and recreate it. One of the temptation with cloud is to throw a lot of storage with all of the IOPS on anything because it's so easy to provision and you don't have to request anything from anyone. It's just few clicks and that's about it. But that's where most of the cost also comes from. So you need to ask few questions before you do that. Do you really need that high capacity local NVMe SSD storage sort of thing on these expensive dense IO instances? More often than not, you don't. And normally block volumes are good enough. Good news is that you can now dynamically change the performance characteristics of all your block storage and boot volumes as needed, while they are online as frequently as you like, without a lengthy process or downtime in Oracle Cloud. Traditionally, companies have deployed individual databases and applications onto dedicated servers to support different departments or line of businesses. This kind of segmented alignment of technology to business functions result in severe underutilization of the technology infrastructure and inefficient utilization of administrative resources managing such deployments. Additionally, such siloed deployments inhibit the ability of IT organizations to respond quickly to changing business needs. Database consolidation may start out as the primary driver of a business initiative. Cost saving will come as a consequence, and it always happens. By consolidating your database services onto your shared infrastructure, you increase utilization of that infra and reduce the hardware server footprint. And remember one thing that Oracle multi-tenant is your friend here, and you can save some serious dollars by using it properly. This one is one of my favorite because it seems a bit old school but very much still valid. If your application is underperformant, throwing memory or CPU related errors intermittently, and users are always whinging and complaining, the first thing you should look at tuning those application queries and application itself as why it is using that resource. And the main point here is again check where your application is spending its time and try to reduce that time. The quick band-aid is always to increase and throw more resources, which is so easy in cloud. But a runaway ROG application will always catch up. So again, tune that application and yes, that is valid in cloud too. Information lifecycle management is one fast way to save costs. Object lifecycle management lets you manage the lifecycle of your object storage data through automated archiving and deletion. It definitely reduces cost and saves time. This lifecycle management works by creating a set of rules for a bucket, which is also called as lifecycle policy. This lifecycle policy archive or delete the objects depending on their age. You can also create a lifecycle policy that is customized for the need to different objects within the bucket. And there is much more to it, and you can consult Oracle's documentation about it, and it's very handy. So these are the 10 tips which you can use to reduce cost in your organization in a surefire way. Before I finish off these tips, let me give you a bonus tip. Every enterprise and organization has an account manager, which is a technical resource too. And these organizations have these Oracle account manager, which provide some technical perspective and some other guidelines. These TAMs directly coordinate with Oracle development and project management as required. They furthermore understand your core business objectives and specific of your IT environment. They are your friend. Use them. That TAM, he is not there just to sell you stuff. He is there to craft and help you execute strategies to not only adopt cloud services, but also tell you how to save costs. They are there for the alignment of technology requirements with business goals. And these days, one of the primary business goals is to save cost. In your monthly review meetings of your cloud fleet, pay special attention to cost related charts and graphs and insist that they show you cost breakdown and comparison with the last month. Religiously stick to the numbers and keep improving them by comparison to the previous period. Ask for discount and keep asking from your tab. If you get some, even then keep asking, and you'll be surprised what you will get. As a concluding remark, I'll leave you with this Swedish proverb that he who buys what he does not need steals from himself. Thank you very much, and a couple of parting words. Cloud is here to stay, and so is efficient cloud management, and your cloud expenditure must reduce. Follow the above tips, customize them as per your organization policies, and ensure that there are no rude surprises on your monthly or annual cloud bill. Thank you very much, and I hope that it was useful for you.